The Trump administration announces a crackdown on the Central American gang known as MS-13. There's a sidebar story here. A federal program exists that places minors who cross the border illegally, places those minors with guardians. Some of the guardians have criminal backgrounds. Congressman Peter King joins us now, Republican from New York. Are we to understand that some of those minors crossed the border, placed with guardians, and some of the guardians were gang members? Is that accurate, sir?
Stu, yes, it is. And these recent murders, horrible, horrible, barbaric tortures and slashings, machete killings have occurred in my district in Central Islip and in Brentwood. And these are in residential neighborhoods. The most horrible, horrific killings carried out by MS-13. And I've been talking with the police commissioner, Tim Sini, and the reality is that many of these acts, I'm not talking about the current murders because they have not been resolved yet, but of the recent MS-13 arrests in Suffolk County, which is my district, more than 70% of them are of these unaccompanied minors. Now what happens is they come across the border, they're held briefly by Homeland Security, then they go to Health and Human Services, HHS, and they find homes for these kids to stay in. Now, the intelligence is showing that MS-13 is getting families in communities like Brentwood and Central Islip on Long Island, getting either threatening the families or paying the families to volunteer to take these kids in, and HHS then sends the kids into these neighborhoods. We've had over 4,000 just in the last 2 years have come into Suffolk County of these kids. And again, 70%, I think 70% of the recent arrests of MS-13 have been these unaccompanied minors.
Why am I not reading about this on the front page of the New York Times? Why not? Why is it a program? Fox Business has to reveal this. Why?
Because basically, this was looked upon as a program. It showed how humanitarian we were. These poor kids were coming across the border. The government was going to find places for them to live in. They'd be mainstreamed into American society. That was the false dream. The reality is, many of them, a significant number, are terrorizing the neighborhoods in which they're in. And again, I spoke yesterday with Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General. Also, I spoke to Secretary Tom Price's office from HHS. They are now going to be giving this top priority. This began under the Obama administration. Let's assume it was well-intentioned. But the reality is, it's like a killing field, right, in a suburban community here in Suffolk County. I was at a wake last night. It's absolutely horrible.
Congressman, I really want to thank you for bringing this to our attention, because that's a major story. That is an outrage. Thank you, sir. Now, before